Hey, what is up guys, Marcy here, back to do another video, and today I've got another awesome game to showcase. This one's going to be on Tiberium Rift, and I'm going to be against Cyberstorm. I'm going to be playing this game as the GDI. I'm going to be Zocom, okay. It's been a while since I played this game, but nevertheless I do remember it being a pretty epic game. It's going to take a while to warm up, so let's just go over what I've been doing the last couple of days. I've been doing a lot of content for this game. There's more videos to come, and I've been hearing people's feedback on R22. So far so good. Heard a number of 4v4 games have been played without any crashes, which I'm happy to hear about, because I don't want to hotfix the patch anymore. I just want to enjoy the game for a while, because updating is a bit tedious, and after a while it's just a bit too much for me. So I'm going to leave the game in the state it's in currently. I did basically no balance changes in R22. It's been strictly bug fixes, exploit fixes to prevent people from cheating, and also some of those exploits cause crashes as well. Notably with Juggernaut and Avatar Husk being captured by engineers. But yeah, not much is happening in this game so far. I'm not going for a rush tactic here. As Zocom, you don't have many options to rush with anyways, because you don't have orcas, but you can go for 4 APCs or 5 APCs with missiles inside. That is an option before you expand, and you can harass your opponent with that. I may decide to do it here. Sometimes you can build them on 3 harvesters just to intercept your opponent's harvester going to the blue tip field. But you never know if that harvester going to the blue is the 3rd harvester or the 4th harvester. It's best to play it safe and not even bother going for the blue tip field. Scout perhaps with a Pipple. Maybe pit first and keeping it alive is a good idea, because that would then prevent your opponent from going for that blue field. You can probably get it then yourself. Though the disadvantage of Pipple first is that you're foregoing your harvester for 7 seconds. But if you suspect your opponent is someone to do early game strategies like me, then going Pipple first is a really good idea. And that is what I should be doing here. So I've got my bookmark assigned to Control J and Control K. These are the default hotkeys for bookmarks. And what are bookmarks? Well, they're a bit like double tapping F1 if you've got 1 unit selected, just to jump to the location of that unit. You can set up camera hotkeys, and if you press the hotkey you can jump to that part of the map instantaneously. So in the case of Control J, if you press the J, then you'll immediately go to that part of the map. I'm going to queue some harvesters here. 3 rocket PCs for me. I've also got a 4th one in the top. That one has an engineer inside. And this group of units is just to keep my opponent scouted for a while. Doing some harassment. So far, unable to get into my opponent's base. In fact, no, I'm not going for a 4th APC with a engineer inside. It's been so many games since this game took place that I actually forgot what happened in this particular one. There's a rig here, which I hope I'm casting the right game. Would be embarrassing if not, but I do believe I am. It's the same matchup as I remember it was. Okay, so the APC engineer is going for the tip spike. I think I originally intended to go for the base of his, but in the end I opted for the tip spike. It's going to be tricky to hold on to that. There's a double portal now, pumping out disintegrators. This can overwhelm my APCs. The buzzer hive buzzers are also drawing fire from those APCs as well, but the rig is standing strong. For now, there are no riflemen inside of those APCs, nor do I have AP ammo. But the rig is now taking damage. Perhaps the Descent should target the APCs instead. A 2nd photon cannon comes down, and that's going to mean the death of this rig. There are simply too many disintegrators and photon cannons to contend with this anymore. And yeah, this attack went pretty smoothly for me. Some shard walkers are going to chase back these APCs, trading pretty evenly, though you can get good mileage out of APC missile if your micro is good, drawing in those shard walkers into the mine drop. which is good for you as a GI player. I'm going to risk it and go for that shard, getting some ranks on my missiles inside of those APCs. So yeah, I'm working now on an MCV and a tier 3. This game I'm going to go for multi-MCV sonic emitter, and I'm going to queue a MAV on my opponent's tip field. That's my plan here. This is an old school strategy. You see it often nowadays, and in this game I felt, because I'm versus 317, no devastator warships, I have a really good chance of winning this game by building sonic emitter spam. So I've got 2 more MCVs queued. This is a pretty standard strategy that you're seeing so far. APC mid-game strategy with a rig into 2 MCV. Surveyor outposts deploy a little sooner in this patch. It's actually 20 seconds to deploy them. They're also cheaper as well. So you'll see surveyors and outposts a little bit more frequently compared to the past. Reclamator hub comes down and I place it on my field because I'm going to expand to the top. This could have been a mistake. Usually the Reclamator hub is there to harvest from your opponent's field, but in this particular match I opted to put it on my main. So we'll see how that goes. I've got refineries queued, lots of resources coming in. No units for me so far. I'm relying strictly on these base defenses. MCV taking some damage, and now I have a total of 3 construction yards, so I can place 3 sonic emitters simultaneously, though there is one thing to be concerned about, and that is the power requirements of those sonic emitters. They consume 20 power per sonic emitter, which means I'm going to need a lot of power plants to power this strategy. And it's been a while since I've done this particular strat, but yet the power need requirements for this is pretty insane. Tripods are out now for Reaper 17, that's no surprise. I'm going to have to contend with a lot of tripods. Zone Raiders is a good counter to tripods, and simply because the tripods are the only that can crush the Zone Raiders while phase. A lot of the downfalls of going for infantry against Scrin is the fact that the Shardwalker, when phase, can crush all of the missile squads. Especially if you're Black Hand, you can experience all your army getting crushed by the shards. But if you go for Zone Raiders, they are classified as elite infantry, and they can't be crushed by Shardwalkers. Only by tier 3 units and tier 4 units can they be crushed. So Shardwalkers is a great option for me, and that's where you see players go for this unit in this matchup. No devastator warships once again. They do have those shoulder mounted missiles, which are really good inside of hammerheads, but this game I'm not going for hammerheads. It's just going to be a commando and a bunch of Zone Raiders. I need to stay on top of my Zone Raiders though, just in case they get buzzer swarmed, which is a possibility. Now, there's not much happening currently, but it is somewhat silence before the storm. I mean, what you're going to witness after this pause in fighting is a huge engagement. But Commando does evacuate from that APC. I just about got off that jump jet, and I was able to cancel the Eradicator Hex Squad. I'm going to go for the drone platform, but it does not work. But it did work because Cyberstorm used the stasis shield out of panic. That should have been casted before the drone ship got sold off, but there's a bunch of tripods coming towards me now. Lots of Zone Raiders, 10 squads to be exact. But my base is getting hit in the south. So many tripods moving in, destroying my base. I've got a Marv, I've got Zone Raiders, as well as a partial expansion. But there's not much Tiberium coming in on that field. Base going to be absolutely wrecked here. My tier 3 is going to fall. No more sonic emitters can be built. No more Zone Raiders. I've got a Marv, but that is pretty exposed here to all of those tripods. If the tripods decide to move in, they can kill that Marv pretty easily. Whilst this is happening, I'm going to force my Zone Raiders into his expansion field and try and take out some harvesters, but really I need to contemplate on defending my base or going on the offensive. I can certainly take on a base trade situation, but as of right now I feel like the safer bet would be to defend, since I have control of the Tiberium on this map. My opponent, with no drone platform, cannot build anything unless he has a gravity stabilizer, in which case he can go back and build his drone ship But yeah, this attack is basically all or nothing for the Route 17 player. I've got those 10 Zone Raider squads, and the tripods are moving in. It's all going to come down to Micro here, and I believe he does not have anything besides the face to contend with these Zone Raiders. Remember, he used the Boston support power not long ago on that commando. Shard Walkers are here as well to clean up my Zone Raiders. Only 6 squads of Zone Raiders are left. Zone Raiders getting crushed now by the tripods. And once these tripods are in my base, they can fire with all 3 lasers, since those tripods have a 120-degree firing arc on their rear laser. So if targets are behind and in front of the tripod, they can use all 3. Increasing the DPS by 50%. Phase field does come off on those tripods. And I've got a lot of Zone Raiders left over. Marv as well. I'm going to jump jet over to this tripod here. Now I'm in some trouble since they don't have any construction yard and my power is extremely low. So if I build another con yard, it's going to take me a minute. It's going to double the time to build. Marv though moving forward, and that potentially was a mistake for me since the Marv now has been EMP'd. Zone Raiders are here causing so much damage. Look at all those buzzers. They're inbound to my Zone Raiders. This is my army. This is all I have left. A heroic Zone Raider there for me. I'm focus firing the ground to try and kill these buzzers. It's really difficult. There's no riflemen to defend against this, and just like a handful of squads are left over for me. I'm going to jump jet those back, and there are 2 squads up in the north, actually just the 1. I'm going to keep that hidden for now, but this MC of mine is about to come out. I do have a refinery powered down, so I can recall these harvesters over there. I'm going to try and buy some time with this singular Zone Raider of mine. And what I'm going to do now is go for a barracks and an armory right away. But first and foremost, I need a power plant. I need this MCP to deploy right now. I need to get power online, and then I can focus on getting a barracks and an armory down. And in the recent update, the Zone Raiders and in fact all infantry can heal themselves up in the armory in only 2 seconds. It used to be 5 seconds. That has been reduced because it was an ability that was seldom used, and plus in such a in a game like Kane's Draft, waiting 5 seconds for a single infantry unit to return to full health is just excessive in my opinion. The mere act of putting infantry in an armory is sufficient enough. So you'll see there that the delay is substantially less, and now these Zone Raiders are going to get some heals and are going to come back out. So here comes some Mecha Ps, Shard Walkers, everything. But I have all those Zone Raiders mostly back up to full health. Harvesters taking some damage here. This is all my eco. Those Mecha Ps are getting 3 shots off on my Harvesters. 2 Harvesters are going to fall here. Shard Walkers as well. Buzzer Swarm on those Zone Raiders, but I quickly force fire the ground. The Shard Walkers are almost all but destroyed. One of the Zone Raiders has promoted up to heroic. Just about. And that Zone Raider as well on that elite status with basically a non-existent health. I will get back into the armory, force some repairs. I've got 3 Harvesters left, and I survived by the skin of my teeth versus these Mechapeds. And I have my units back in the fight here. And since I know these Zone Raiders are going to die eventually against the Shard Walkers, I'm going to build some transports to put them inside. There's a Harvester going to that field up in the north. That's unnecessary for me. There's also that squad on the top as well. But yeah, eco-wise, I'm not doing too well. Nowadays, you don't need a tier 3 anymore to cure Marv. I mean, you do need a tier 3 to cure Marv. What am I talking about? In vanilla, that was not the case. You needed to... you didn't even need a technology assembler or a tech center as GDI to build a Marv. So I have some poultry forces, but the heroic Zone Raider inside of the Hammerhead is going to be very tricky to combat. Mechapeds are insane with their anti-air segment, but thus far my opponent does not know that these are equipped inside of Hammerheads. They're mostly disc shard segment Mechapeds, so they will be exposed to the damage inflicted by the Zone Heads, and I'm going to be able to quickly pick off these Mechapeds, and I need to before he develops them into full disc segment mechas. I still maintain control of 3 Harvesters, but I have not been able to harvest since those tripods were there harassing me. I'm going to focus fire the tripods, try and kill them. I don't like zone heads that much as SOCOM because when you focus fire the ground, the AP ammo chain gun on the hammerhead also focus fires the ground as well, so you're lacking some DPS there. But it is necessary to shoot just so you don't miss your opponent's units. That disc segment mecha Pete is going to be very, very risky engaging, but I'm going to take on this mecha and eventually take it out. Harvester there in my base. Could go for the crush on my harvesters, which he is trying to do there. Harvester in the refinery will be taken out, so yeah, that puts me down to just 2 harvesters, and still this game is super tight, super close. I have less eco, all things considered. He's long leeching with probably a dozen harvesters. Here's me on just the 2 harvesters, alive just. There's a husk there. I can go for a barracks, take a tripod husk, but the problem is it's blocking the entrance of my refinery, and my harvester will just crush it as it enters the dock, so that was never an option. Did a quick scan to reveal what is left over. Mecha Pete. But I've got Shatterers now. And the heroes of this game certainly are these Zone Raider squads inside of the Hammerheads. I'm going to see if I can do some infrastructure damage. As far as I'm aware, that's his only warp sphere, so destroying that will prevent any further production. But at the same time, I'm not entirely sure, so I'm not going to take the risk. I'm going to just confirm there are no refineries set up on that 3rd field. If there are, then this game is for sure not over just yet. Tripod husk gets taken over, but yeah, not before quickly going down. These hammerheads give me maneuverability, allows my Zone Raiders to traverse the map a lot quicker. And against 4 Mecha Ps, even a fully heroic Zone Raider is not enough, especially with the Buzzsaw Power Man. It only takes 1 mistake for me to lose this game, considering I don't have a tier 3, and my eco is still in a dire situation. I do still maintain control over a tip spike. That was not destroyed. That's given me $600 a minute. And these shadow tanks are going to defend my base versus those Mecha Ps. I fire off the overload beam, and that's really the most I can hope for with that Shatterer there. And if I focus fire the ground with the Shatterer, I can maybe hit the Mecha Ps. Another one does go down. And I'm starting to stabilize in this game after an intense 5 minutes in this bottom field, utilizing the power of SOCOM Zone Raider Hammerheads to come through and finally win it. And I thought that was pretty crazy there. What was a game full of mistakes from both of us ended up having a great final, in my opinion. And that was a super close ending there with much action. Reaper 17 player could have won if the drone ship was not sold off. I felt that was the misplay of the game there from him, as well as myself possibly not going zone head sooner. But again, both of us were making mistakes, and I think that's necessary for a good game anyways. You can't have perfect gameplay from both players, otherwise there will be no close games, would there? Anyways, thank you very much guys for watching this. Hope you all enjoyed this one, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that, and I have more videos like this to come. So if you want to see more of these types of games, then follow me on YouTube, and I do stream on Twitch as well if you want to check out my Twitch channel. So yeah, this is it. Thank you very much to everyone who is watching, and before I leave, a big thank you to my patrons for supporting me and my channel and keeping this game going. And I'll see you all next time, guys. Peace out.